Hi and welcome to an episode, an unofficial episode of $3,000 Cars. I certainly didn't want to start this channel, which I've now called it $3,000 Cars, with an episode like this. And I'm not going to allow this to be the first official episode, but I'll post it up anyway because I want some help from the guys on the Volkswagen forum. But just so you know, this channel is hopefully about cars that are quite nice or interesting or different that you can get for 3,000, starting with my own cars. So I've got three cars that I think qualify, $3,000 or around that, or you can get for. That is how I'll sort of justify having an amount of $3,000 based on my own experience to begin with as well. Here's one of them, 1974 Volkswagen Beetle. Certainly not a mint collector's item or anything like that. And they don't usually have a rag filling up half the engine bay. Hence why this is going really out to the guys on the forum to help me troubleshoot, at least confirm what I think I've found to be the issue. But just as a backstory, what this car did to me, it was running absolutely fine. I've owned this for about 2 years now, maybe even more. But what it did recently was decide to, there's not many fluids that can go wrong or get mixed on a Beetle, but air-cooled, obviously. This managed to do the one thing that it shouldn't do, which is basically take all of its fuel, dump it through whatever weak spot it found in the gaskets into the sump, and then drop the now diluted combination of fuel and oil onto my driveway, which is not the best smell for your neighbours to be encountering, certainly not if you live in a bushfire area like I do. So anyway, that's the story. I've pulled off the fuel pump, I've pulled off the carburetor. At any time, seriously, I'm not pretending to be a mechanic or anything like that. I'm just an enthusiast myself. So if at any stage you feel that I've used the wrong term or are doing something wrong, do feel free to let me know. I'm an owner, not a mechanic, but it's all good fun. And Beetles are lovely to work on. I actually think it should be like national service, really. Everybody should own a Beetle at some point because they are so good to learn the fundamentals, even though obviously it's old technology, carburetors and all of that kind of stuff. If you've got a good set of spanners and a rubber mallet, I claim you can look after a Volkswagen Beetle. Anyway, right, this is what I want confirmation on. For the cause of this mixture and the dumping of everything in the fuel tank, which I seem to remember I'd only recently filled, but anyway. I've got the carburetor off. I've taken the top off of the carburetor, okay, to see what we're dealing with underneath. And it all looks in fairly good condition. What I was told to look out for was that possibly it could be a stuck float. This float, in fact, I'm just going to get around there so you can see it clearer, hopefully. Tap on there. There we go. This float, I'm just going to get that little guy out of my way, just so you can see. But I haven't had to clean anything up. The movement on that is actually fine, so I can't see that that would have been the problem. I don't think that was stuck at all, which is apparently one of the major things that could go wrong, is the float gets stuck, allowing the fuel to flow through. I'm still learning exactly the operation, something I need to read up on, and exactly how does a carburetor work. However, what I do know, because I was just sort of going over it and trying to figure out, well, what does that float stop? What flow does it cause or hinder? And obviously if you look at the underside of what goes on top of it, because that doesn't block anything else itself off in terms of that would be gravity fed, so it has to be up here. And then I remembered something I'd seen on another YouTube video, which is all about this pin, and obviously the float, when it comes up, in theory should push that pin in. Now this is potentially what I think is the problem. And again, invite anybody to say, yep, that's it, mate, that's what it is. Or, no, mate, you're barking up the wrong tree. But this pin, I cannot push in. Ah, it does actually pull out, okay. I didn't try that before. So, alright, so let's have a look at that. See, finding as I go. No, so it's not that. Aha. That did just stick up. Did you see that? It's not, there we go, sticky again, there we go. So, especially comments from anybody on YouTube that knows about carburetors or Volkswagen Beetles, but especially anybody on the VW forum, I'd be interested in your input. But that to me, could that be the cause? Could that be it right there? My plan is, in all honesty, this is an MP carburetor. I mean, I could clean that up. In theory, I might even try that. Spray some carby cleaner in and just see how much freer that operation becomes. But what I'm tempted to do, because, you know, why put bad components back in again, is put a replacement reproduction Volkswagen carburetor in place of this MP, and replace the fuel pump with a better quality fuel pump than the one that was on the car when I bought it. The car's a bit of a Frankenstein. It's clearly had a checker pass, but that's half the fun, just discovering what you're dealing with. So, but I've been told these aren't the best quality. No offense to anybody that supplies these, but I've just been told I can get a better quality reproduction fuel pump at a fairly good price. So that's what I'm tempted to do, rather than put this one back on, given that some fuel pumps are known to perforate the diaphragm. So I don't want to put an already aged component that could fail and potentially give me the same catastrophic failure as I've already had. I was very fortunate. This failure actually happened on my drive, as I said. In all honesty, it was absolutely fine. It, you know, dumped itself on the driveway. It's not the best, but if it had dumped itself whilst on the road, you know, engine fire, complete destruction of the bottom end of the engine, all of those kind of things would have been likely outcomes. So I think I've got off fairly lightly.